factors determining requirements of working capital. So what all the factors which are going to determine the working capital of my company? First one, sales. So we need to have a very high sales to maintain the current assets. So if you are not selling your goods properly, you cannot have money to maintain the current assets. So operating cycle, if the length is higher, you need to have higher working capital is required. But if the length is less, means lesser working capital is required. So operating cycle will determine how much working capital is required for the next year, because I told you the how much expense you have in the last year is going to determine the expense from the current year, right? So operating cycle has to be high. If the operating cycle is less, means less capital is required. If the operating cycle is more, means you need to have more amount of working capital. Length of operating cycle, it should be, if it is longer, means you need more working capital, because 12 months I'm doing 12 months I'm doing the production. Only at the 12th month I'll be giving out the product, means you have to wait for 12 months. So you need more amount of money to actually invest to get your product. But if the operating cycle is smaller, means less, that for that cycle I need to invest only less. Okay, so that is clearly you have to understand the length of operating cycle will determine the working capital. The working capital is proportional to the length of operating cycle. Next one, nature of business. So what type of company? If you are a trading company, means you will be you have to take stock, and for carrying stock you need more working capital. Credit, terms of credit period is longer, means more working capital is required. Credit means the money you get for managing the assets of your company. So credit period is longer, means you need to have more working capital. Seasonal variation, whether you are going to produce goods which are for a particular season, or it is for throughout the year. For example, sugar factory, crackers, cool drinks. So sugar factory, crackers, and cool drinks, if you take cool drinks mostly in summer, sugar factory almost throughout the year, crackers only during the festival season. So these type of industry, the type of industry you are going to have, okay, the type of industry you are going to have, it is also going to determine what is the working capital you are going to have in the company. Turnover versus inventory. So turnover means how much you are actually selling the goods and converting the products into profit. That is turnover. And inventory is the money you make. If the turnover is low and the inventory is large, turnover is low means the profit is less, but your expense is large, means you will have more working capital. So turnover is the amount of money it is returning back to you by selling your product. So the turnover is less, means I can say the finished products are converted not into money that quickly. So the expense is going to be large, means you need to have more working capital. And nature of the production technology, which if we are going to use a manual manual, you are going to produce everything manually, means it will involve more amount of labor. So you have to pay more amount of money, so more working capital is required. Next one, contingencies. In case if any unwanted situation happens, how we are going to manage that, that is going to be the contingency. For that also you need to have working capital. So working capital is going to be dependent on a lot of factors what is told here. So that you have to be take care while you are establishing your enterprise.